Hello and welcome to my video on words, phrases, and sentences that we Indians use incorrectly in English. India is a diverse country with many languages. English is widely spoken and used as a medium of communication in many walks of life. However, the influence of the native languages of Indians on their English speaking and writing skills can sometimes lead to the use of incorrect words, phrases, and sentences that can be confusing for native English speakers from the UK, the USA and Australia. In this video, we will be discussing such examples of commonly misused words, phrases, and sentences by Indians. You are listening to Artificial Intelligence representative of Ram Rutangwala. And now let's begin our lesson. Do the needful. This phrase is widely used in India to mean, please get this done. However, its incorrect usage in English. A more appropriate phrase would be, please take the necessary action. Prep 1. This word, which means, to bring something forward in time, is not recognized as an actual word in English. Instead, the phrase, move up, can be used. Out of station. In India, this phrase is commonly used to indicate that someone is out of town. However, the correct usage of this phrase in English is, out of the office/home/country. Pass out. In India, this phrase is commonly used to indicate that someone has graduated from college. However, in English, the phrase, graduate from, should be used instead. Kindly. The word, kindly, is often used as a substitute for, please, in India. However, in English, kindly implies an act of kindness and is not used in making requests. The word, please, should be used instead. Revert back. In India, people commonly use this phrase as a way of saying, get back to me, or reply. In English, the word, revert, by itself is enough. Revert back is incorrect usage. Useful. In Indian English, this word is often used as an exclamation to mean, that's great. However, in English, useful refers to something that provides practical help or benefits. Time pass. This word refers to something that is done to pass the time in India. However, in English, the correct phrase would be, kill time. Improvement. In Indian English, this word is often used to indicate that something has become worse. However, in English, improvement means, getting better, so its usage in this context is incorrect. Discuss about. In India, this phrase is often used to start a conversation about a topic. However, the correct usage in English is discuss without the addition of about. I am having. In India, people often say, I am having a headache, but in English the correct phrase would be, I have a headache. Even me. In Indian English, the phrase, even me, is often used to demonstrate that the speaker can relate to a situation. However, in English, the correct phrase is, me too. Please do the favor. In India, the phrase, please do the favor, is often used as a more formal way of asking for help. In English, the correct phrase would be, please do me a favor. Doubt. In Indian English, the word, doubt, is often used to mean, question. However, in English, doubt implies uncertainty or suspicion, so its usage in this context is incorrect. Very informative. In Indian English, this phrase is often used to mean, interesting. However, in English, informative refers to something that provides useful information. Attend the phone. In India, this phrase is commonly used to mean, answer the phone. However, the correct phrase in English would be, answer the phone, or, pick up the phone. Return back. In India, people commonly use this phrase to mean, come back. In English, the phrase, return, is sufficient and the addition of, back, is incorrect. Do one thing. In India, this phrase is often used to indicate that someone should do a particular task. However, the correct phrase in English would be, please do this for me. Doing outing. In India, people often use this phrase to indicate that they are going out, but in English the correct phrase would be, going out. Please intimate me. In Indian English, this phrase is often used to request information about a particular situation. In English, the correct phrase would be, please inform me. Nowadays, I am not having time. In Indian English, this phrase is commonly used to mean, I am busy nowadays. However, in English, the correct phrase would be, I am busy nowadays. Please find the attached file. In India, this phrase is often used to indicate that an email contains an attachment. However, in English, the phrase, please find attached, is sufficient and the addition of file is incorrect. Fresh up. This word is often used in India to describe a quick bath or shower. However, in English the correct phrase would be, freshen up. Passing out. In India, this phrase is often used to indicate that someone is fainting. However, in English, the phrase, fainting, should be used instead. I am not having money. In Indian English, this phrase is often used to mean, I don't have money. However, in English, the correct phrase would be, I don't have money. Repeat again. Repeat itself bear the meaning of again. Hence, no need to include again with repeat. Simply say, could you repeat that for me please? Have a nice day ahead or have a good day ahead. No need to include ahead when you are saying have a nice day or have a good day. Simply say, have a nice day or have a good day. Some other examples we Indian commit mistakes are. By mistake it happened, instead of, it was a mistake. Give me your kind attention, instead of, please pay attention. Mug up, instead of, memorize. I hope that you found this video informative. The use of incorrect words, phrases, and sentences can be confusing and frustrating for native English speakers when you speak with people from the UK, the USA, and Australia. We encourage you to continue practicing and improving your English language skills. If you happen to find me using any of these words, phrases and sentences incorrectly, please point it out time and help me to correct myself. Remember that language is a powerful tool that can help us achieve our goals, communicate with others, and build meaningful relationships. Thank you for watching.